Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Good afternoon. I need the energy. We're talking about education, right? So it's exciting to be back in Kashkash for the 6th edition of the EurAfrica Forum under the theme, EU-Africa Alliance Opportunities for Growth. My name is Vivian Onano, and I'm the founder and director at Leading Light Initiative. I'd like to express my profound gratitude to His Excellency Jose Manuel Barroso and my very good friend, Mr. Antonio Calzada, for providing me the opportunity to meaningfully participate in these important discussions that continue to shape the vital relationship between Africa and Europe. Standing here today, I am delighted and honored to be in a room full of immense potential that is ready to be harnessed for the betterment of Africa and Europe. Since the forum began today, I've had the opportunity to interact with many of you. And all I hear is action, action, action. This really energizes me because there's no better place to get the action started on the addressing our collective needs on digital transformation, education, infrastructure gaps, sustainable financing, innovation in healthcare, climate mitigation and adaptation, than here at the EurAfrica Forum. I have observed that in each edition of the EurAfrica Forum, the discussion topics have kept changing. But one issue has always been on the agenda, and that is education. This is a clear proof of the importance of education in achieving the different development agendas. We need skilled workforce to be able to operate our businesses, our companies, our governments, and that is only possible when you prioritize and heavily invest in education that is focused on producing learned and skilled individuals rather than just the diplomas. A lot of progress that had been made in Africa towards achieving parity in both primary and secondary education have been undone by the recent COVID-19 pandemic. And even though African leaders fully understand and prioritize investment in education, their resources still remain inadequate. And you've heard Dr. Yao talk about partnerships and mobilizing more partnerships for the great work that he's doing in Ghana. There is need to double down on mobilization of funding towards education to ensure that there's proper infrastructure, user-friendly technology, well-equipped teachers and resources to ensure that children continue to learn and develop the skills that allow them to be competitive in the global market and be change agents. The recent Spotlight report on Africa by the Global Education Monitoring Report, UNESCO, shows that 1 in 5 children of primary school age in Africa remain out of school. Only 1 in 2 children in rural areas and 1 in 3 among the poorest complete primary education. These numbers are worrisome because these kids are being denied an opportunity to maximize on their human potential. And this undermines the future of any country. A country can only predict its future success through the number of its population that's educated. Even though data is scanty when it comes to learning outcomes, the available research shows that when completion rates and learning rates are combined, children in Africa are approximately 1/5 as likely as children in the rest of the world to be prepared. We are failing these children. Their hopes and aspirations are not being realized. We cannot continue with business as usual when majority of the children are being left behind. Africa has readily available human capital and natural resources, but to be able to accelerate productivity, to spark inclusive growth, it's imperative that we start by investing in the education of our children and young people. To ensure that children continue to learn despite of the global challenges that we are grappling with, we need to prioritize investment in technology. Technology is an enabler if well put to use by localizing it. We need to support local innovations in edtech for ease in usage and to close the digital divide. Even though the usage of mobile phones has penetrated the African continent, this doesn't mean the majority of the people have access to broadband or even use smartphones. To close the digital divide, which is quite evident between children who are in school in the rural areas and those in the urban, the technology has to be easily adaptable and can be used in areas with no access to electricity or internet. A good example is the Mtabe online application, which was founded in 2017 by a young Tanzanian, Mr. Given Edward, after realizing that many students didn't have access to textbooks, and often their learning ended the moment they leave the gates of their schools. He founded Mtabe to provide local solutions and ensure that children, even from rural areas, have access to learning resources that they need. Mtabe uses artificial intelligence and SMS technology to deliver content to students who do not have access to textbooks or internet. This artificial intelligence platform provides personalized and instant learning content from a virtual tutor via SMS. The online platform has been customized into local languages in addition to English and costs roughly $1 a month to have unlimited access. On a daily basis, they have roughly 700 students between the ages of 13 to 22 years on the platform, and even teachers use it to create their own classes and earn additional income into their mobile money. Applications such as Mtabe have the potential to revolutionize the education space on the African continent, given that it can be customized into any local language. We need to invest in such local technologies to close the digital divide and ensure that learning remains a lifelong process for all children. While we address the issue of digitization, we also need to ensure that we continue to promote science, technology, engineering, and maths among young people. STEM should be introduced at an early age so that it becomes part of the learning curriculum for young people. It is through STEM that young people learn how to research, innovate, expand on their creativity, and develop problem-solving skills. Investments in science and technology have the potential to speed up Africa's economic transformation at both structural and sectoral levels. In all this, we have to make sure that girls and women are not left behind. Women are still underrepresented in STEM careers in sub-Saharan Africa. We only have about 18 to 31% of science researchers who are women, compared to 49% in Southern East Europe and in the Caribbean. Women's contribution to research is important, given that we comprise more than half of the population, and our contribution brings in the creativity, innovation, gender-sensitive perspective for products and productivity. And for us to boost up the enrollment of girls in STEM, we need to have policies in place that reinforce the use of female role models in STEM that the girls can connect with and see themselves through. As they say, we become what we see and constantly interact with. We need to create learning spaces, learning resources that portray the girl child in STEM. We need to encourage girls to be involved in STEM from an early age to close the gender gap. We need to ensure that there is equal access to basic education and invest and equip the teachers. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is important that we understand that for these transformative changes to happen in the education sector, we have to know that education is everyone's business. We need to hold our leaders and ourselves accountable. We need leadership that is intentional, that is focused on big wins rather than quick wins for re-election, one that is ready to walk the talk, and last but not least, one that fully understands that there is no better investment than that of investing in the potential of your population. And that starts with access to quality and relevant education. We need bold partnerships that are people-centered, and I hope that the latest Africa-EU partnership will ensure that no child is left behind, and the two continents will continue to heavily prioritize on the education and upskilling of young people. We need to create opportunities for young people where they are to avoid having them risk their lives crossing the Mediterranean Sea in an effort to realize their hopes and dreams. Let us use the EurAfrica Forum as a platform to galvanize some of these partnerships for the betterment of the two continents. As I had initially stated, there is a lot of potential in here, potential collaborations and partnerships. Let us make them a reality. It is within our capability to make sure that we create a resilient, inclusive, and sustainable world where everyone thrives. Let us work together, hand in hand, to ensure that no child is left behind. And Europe and Africa continues to work closely together as equal partners with a common agenda for our people and planet. Thank you.